He is coming to you live from the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy in Detroit. I'm coming to you live from Pier 17, the South Street Seaport, and we are brought to you by Heineken. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, Woj, he's got another one. This time it's about Kawhi. Let's listen.
The guy we haven't talked about, Kawhi Leonard. It seems like it's a two-team race. Is that fair at this point?
Yeah. Toronto, the Clippers, and listen, I think they've kept their eye on the Lakers and what that's going to look like. The Lakers, financially, can they get to, what number are they going to get to in free agency in terms of cap space?
Interesting. We knew it was some sort of maybe potential for him to join the Lakers, but how realistic do you think it is to have AD, LeBron James, and Kawhi Leonard on the same team?
Not gonna be able to do it. It's not gonna go down like that. Kawhi Leonard is gonna beat to his own drum, especially after playing 9 games, dealing with the slander of fans and media, and even some of his teammates questioning whether he could play or not, getting traded in the offseason, going to Toronto in the final year of his contract, and winning the championship without a lottery pick on the team. He's not going to go to Los Angeles and all of a sudden be second or third wheel, depending on what day it is. And also, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, again, you can't turn down the opportunity to recruit Kawhi Leonard, but he's not going. We've talked about this all year. Either he's going to stay in Toronto or he's going to go to the Clippers, who outplayed expectations. They have Ballmer. They have the legend, Jerry West, who continues to thrive as probably the greatest general manager of all time. They have Doc Rivers. They were a 6th seed. They did some amazing things. If he leaves the Raptors, it will be for the Clippers.
Well, this may influence his decision. All indications are that Masai Ujiri, the sort of brains behind the Raptors operation, is going to stay in Toronto. How does that affect the franchise, and how does that affect Kawhi Leonard's decision?
Oh, a ton. It affects it a ton because a lot of people can talk to Kawhi about the ability to build a championship. He's the only one that can show him that he did it together. That's a lot different. Also, I want to put a couple of things out there that people need to consider.
Ooh.
Playing in the Eastern Conference and taking 21, 22 games from load management, the team was able to hold it down and go 17-4, something like that. I don't see that happening in the West. If he's going to miss 20 games, whatever team he plays on, unless he joins LeBron and AD, they won't be a number 1 or 2 seed because he's missing a large portion, 20-25% of the season during the regular season. So now it lowers your playoff seeding and makes the road a lot tougher. So Masai showed him, the teammates showed him, the medical staff showed him, and the fans rolled out the red carpet like only the nation of Canada can do for the King of the North.
I think that's a really good point that you make, that if he were to join a Western Conference team like the Clippers and he were to take as many games off as he did last year, they would not be as successful without him as the Raptors were, and that would have playoff implications. That's a very interesting point, Jalen Rose. Now, we talk about the Lakers potentially adding Kawhi Leonard. I don't think that's going to happen, and that would take up basically all of their cap space, and they would have to, build out the rest of their roster with some players that may not be at the top of the heap in the NBA in free agency. Now, there are some rumors of some players that they have been looking at to fill out their roster, and they're very interesting. Jalen, I can't believe I'm saying this. Some names that have popped up are, wait for it, J.R. Smith and Carmelo Antony. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this might actually happen?
I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea.
Oh, what?
Because
what?
Yes, no doubt about it. Because did you see J.R. Smith play basketball last year?
No. I saw him on Chris Brickley's Instagram feed.
Exactly. You know that he's going to be a heat check type of scorer, and he's already gotten his money, already won a championship with LeBron. He's also a Clutch Sports client, so he knows the in and outs of what they're trying to get done. Carmelo Antony, even though he didn't work in Houston and probably didn't live up to expectations in OKC, he can be a guy that could get hot and score 10 points in a playoff game in a quarter, or maybe have 20 points in a playoff game. That can take place. And did you see him playing ball after he left the Houston Rockets last year?
Well, a couple things, Jalen. I have seen both of these players play extremely well in the past year, but they've been on Chris Brinkley's Instagram feed in empty gyms. Also, I do remember the last time J.R. Smith played basketball with LeBron James pretty well, and we all know what happened then. We all know what happened in game one of those finals, and we know that J.R. Smith is a sort of a, just to put it lightly, a hit or miss kind of a player. And sometimes when you say, have I seen these players play basketball? Sometimes there's a reason for that. You say he didn't live up to expectations in OKC. He didn't. And we all know that he was on the Rockets for like 3 weeks. There's probably a reason for that too. So what makes you think that after those sort of failed experiments last year and all that time off, that they still should be added to a Lakers roster, which are probably building young players with energy to play defense instead of older players that are just friends of LeBron James?
First off, Melo is a Hall of Famer. The Knicks should retire his number.
Fact.
And the one thing about him playing in Houston, you knew it wasn't going to work in the preseason when he pump faked the three-point shot, took a two-point shot, made it, and apologized. You knew right there that that wasn't going to work. He's a guy that likes to mix up his game and score. And I know he's not a lockdown defender, but here's what you got to allow the team to do. Become LeBron James's personality. See, it's like more than just allowing LeBron to be great. It's allowing him to flourish with guys that understands what makes him tick. He don't have time to learn new people and learn new players on and off the floor. J.R. Smith won a championship with him. Melo is his right-hand man. I think they both still have some minutes left in them in the NBA. And I want to see Melo leave where it's not so unceremonial. It doesn't have to be what Dwayne Wade was able to do, but for a guy that accomplished so much, I didn't like to see him go out like that. And lastly, those guys are going to be desperate because they didn't play last year. It's almost like they did with the coaching staff. People question hiring Frank Vogel and then hiring Jay Kidd and Lionel Hollins. I like that. You know why? Those two guys were out of the league. They weren't interviewing for jobs and then all of a sudden the Lakers hired them. It's a chance for them to get back in the league. And that's what I see with J.R. Smith and Melo being added to this Lakers roster. I anticipate that it will happen.
I want it to happen for the entertainment purposes. And also, if I'm Rob Pelinka, I'm saying, LeBron, who do you want? He's like, get these guys. Okay, cool. Then I'll call their agents and I'll say one thing. Veteran minimum, not a penny more. Veteran minimum only. That's what you're being offered right now, because they do have to fill out that roster with not too much cap space after paying for Anthony Davis. Next, Andre Iguodala was on the Breakfast Club and had some really interesting things to say about his experience with an injury in Golden State. We'll tell you what that is.